You've seen those viral videos where people break down, they're crying, like this one, this, and this. Exactly. And there's some sort of life changing clarity during breathwork. And honestly, I thought, what is this sorcery? Is this even real? I mean, imagine, can breathwork really do that? What even is that it can connect with your consciousness? What is cleansing your aura? I couldn't just scroll past it, and I had to do this for myself. And let me tell you, what I experienced was nothing short of unforgettable. It wasn't just about me. I had the chance, the privilege to share this moment with Siddhi Mittal, an amazing founder whose journey is honestly super inspiring. Siddhi's story is incredible. She's from a small town in India where, if you are from a small town like myself, you're always told dream big, but not too big. And she's the founder of this revolutionary startup, which everybody in the UK loves because it's called Yhangry and it is a private chef marketplace. If you are new here, I'm Garima, the host of Popkast with Garima, and this is season 4. The session was guided by the incredible duo Sabine and Attila. Over 60 minutes, they led us through what's called Conscious Connected Breathwork. It's not just about breathing, it's about tapping into something deeper. We were so vulnerable. I cried, Siddhi cried, and they call it cleansing and awakening. And honestly, I didn't know what to expect, but I was all in.
All those episodes have been very stationary, and it had been either virtually done or they have been in a studio, and I wanted a podcast date for myself. So this is like an experience where we kind of get together, do something. I think as founders, we seldom take the time to think about our own wellness, and it's really, these rare moments where I want you also to just feel amazing.
I think it's more that I wanted to do breath work, and I was like, if it's breath work and in this area, even more so or other stuff, because I've always wanted to do breath work, but somehow I end up doing yoga or meditation or all this other stuff. But I don't think I've ever yet done a proper. And I went to a breath work class, but it was more non-breath work.
You went to a breathwork class which is non-breathwork.
Exactly.
We will prepare you massively for what you can expect. We're literally like a mom and dad. Give you all the tools. Just so you feel as safe as possible, because that is ultimately our goal.
Let's do a little bit of breathing in the beginning just to kind of tap into the body, because we all came from different locations or places. We just woke up. So let's just come together as 4 of us and just breathe a little bit, okay? We're just gonna close the eyes, we're gonna go inside, and we're just gonna breathe in and out through the nose for now. And you can just ask yourself, how do I feel right now? Not 10 minutes ago, not yesterday, right now.
Make a sound.
And slowly you can open your eyes, coming back to the room.
Just looking forward to the experience, and it's like a little anxious.
They feel very calm and open.
All right, so breathwork. So today we're doing Conscious Connected Breathwork. It's a self-healing modality, so it's not like we're doing anything to you. You're actually activating your own self-magic. Really what you can experience is anything on the emotional spectrum. So we can't tell you whether you're going to experience any anger or sadness or whatever it is. What we can tell you is whatever is coming up, whatever emotions, just let them come to the surface. It's a judgment-free zone. And the last thing we want you to do is judge your own feelings. Let the roots move deeper and deeper, grounding you more and more. Any worries, Anything that needs to be sent down your legs into the ground, allow the earth to alchemize it with the denser frequency. Good. Where I get to say the things that I want without being afraid of how my other people will hear me.
The sound, breathe in. And breathe in again. And repeat. One.
You are becoming fully aware of what you need in order to feel safe and fulfilled on planet Earth. Know that it is part of the divine plan for you to be incarnated upon this planet now. The seeds you are planting are sending roots deep into the Mother Earth. You are held, you are supported. You are held, you are supported.
However is comfortable, do a little stretching. You're gonna meet in a seated position. But again, no rush, and your verb is gentle.
But yeah, now you're in your bodies. So if you do feel a little edgy or a little emotional or a bit like you want to melt into the floor or the sofa, that's absolutely normal. We always like to close with a sharing circle, just like we did at the beginning. We'll probably start with you again, and if it's one word, then that's perfect.
Can I go with so many?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Clarity of mind, emotional, vulnerable, confident, at peace.
Yeah, sounds like a journey.
Yeah.
Just a lot of reflection.
Yeah.
So it was really good. Yeah, like love was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Physically, emotionally, I don't even know where I was. Yeah, so it was a really good experience.
Yeah.
That's good. The side effect of breathwork.
Siddhi, we have a common denominator between us, which is that you come from a small town in Agra and I come from a small town in Ajmer. And especially when you are girls in small towns, your dreams always have boundaries. And if anybody, you don't have to identify as a female or male, but you know what I'm talking about, right? We always have our boundaries capped. And then you really soared so high. You went from Agra to Colombia. You started a business in London. It's a Y Combinator backed business. In hindsight, it looks like you were weaving this master plan all together. Like, was there some plan? Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
No, when I was in Agra, I actually thought I'll grow up to be a housewife. And I think there were a lot of invisible boundaries in my career just imposed upon me because of my environment. Even at Columbia, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And that was the first time I was exposed to people who wanted to have a career. And I thought, wait, what is this? I also want it. It looks fun.
Wow. So, because I had dreams of being this bride, and all I ever thought was that I'm going to be the most perfect housewife, as they said. And then, of course, like, I don't know at what age. I think for me, it changed in my 6th standard when I held mic for the first time in my school assembly. And it's very narcissistic, but trust me, like, when I say this, I fell in love with the echo of my own voice. And I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So I completely hear you.
I love that. I love that for you.
Okay, let's talk about your experience while you were trading in New York. What's that one lesson that you still use while you're building Yhangry today?
There's so many lessons. The trading floor is like this brutal place, and it preps you so well for the real life because people are literally shouting at you. They're like, "F off, what are you doing?" Like, they will use all this profanity around you, which is enough to shake you to the core and doubt yourself. And then you learn, if you can learn to have thick skin and ignore the content of what they're saying, you can keep going. And then you realize, whatever, I can actually take anything. Like, it doesn't matter what anyone says to me, I'll figure this out. And then you become competitive. And actually, I kind of found myself through the trading floor process, because initially I'd be like, oh my God, they've said this, like, I'm going to get fired, I'm going to die, what's going to happen? And then once you make it through it, you think, wait, I didn't die, nothing bad happened. I just had to listen to some terrible words or some like scary stuff going on around me, but it's okay because I made it through. And then I think I really thrived in that environment. And I think now I just see the world as this place where there are positives and negatives, and there's a lot of like negative stuff that will come at you, but just you keep going. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter the environment you're in, you just have to absorb it and be the best version of yourself and find yourself actually through this noise and negativity, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I think just generally, I think the values of being thick-skinned and being resilient always comes in handy when you are building something of your own, because there's so many setbacks and people, trying to push you down. So definitely that is a great lesson that you still hold on to while building
100%.
Yhangry. Why Yhangry?
Actually, this is a problem I had for my own. Then I met my co-founder, Hainan, and she was the very first customers. But why Yhangry? I've grown up in India and I've grown up with cooks or like great food around. It's just like a no-brainer. And so with Hainan, like, it's just such a no-brainer that you have great home-cooked food. Whereas then in New York and London, and then for her in Germany, this concept just does not exist. It's either restaurants or you cook at home. There's no in between. And the biggest insight was, I knew restaurant workers are one of the lowest paid. They get paid, honestly, fuck all in this country. It's terrible. It's like 20 to 24K a year. It's minimum wage. They have mental health issues. They're stuck behind a kitchen door. They have no easy way to progress. However, on the flip side, and this really pisses me off, people say, oh my gosh, private chefs are unaffordable. And then I look at them and I want to shout. I want to be like, are you effing kidding me? What do you mean? You can pay the same you pay at a restaurant, like 40 pounds per person, and the chef will come to your place and cook and give you like a 5-star chef stable service. So how is that unaffordable? This is not thousands. It's like 200 pounds all in. You're paying that already in a restaurant. So I think those two things just didn't make sense. And there was a clear gap that had to be bridged. So I inserted myself.
I am so glad. I think food is something, I have equated food to dopamine for me. If I don't have good food in my plate, I'm hangry, and I don't want to be hungry. So
Yhangry? Now you know.
I love it.
That's hilarious.
Okay, awesome. You got funded, or you were offered funding on Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
And then you never received it. What happened there?
So we turned it down. Actually, 50% of deals never go through. It's either the founders say no or the dragons say no. In our case, we knew that we could raise better commercial terms in the market, and we did. Like 2 months after, we raised at like 10x higher valuation.
Wow.
And we just kind of knew fundamentally that was like the right thing to do, of course, for like protecting your equity as a founder. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was a great experience. Like, that team was incredible. I highly recommend everyone to at least go through the experience regardless of what happens with the funding bit.
Awesome. You spoke about Hainan, your co-founder, and I absolutely, by the way, adore the two of you together. You're so vocal in terms of a co-founder relationship. Yeah. You've posted on LinkedIn a couple of times in terms of couple therapy.
Was that something you spoke about? Yeah. So I want to talk to you because most founders have a co-founder. Tell me about how is it to work with a co-founder who's your work wife and then balance and harmoniously work together. And when there are instances of conflict, how have you figured out what is the right way to manage a co-founder conflict?
Co-founder relationship is one of the most important relationships in your life. For me, it's actually the most crazy. Like my partner, or I say my partner, but my husband comes second because it's almost easier. I see him for less time. We don't overlap for work. So even if you like argue, whatever, like life sorts itself out.
Yeah.
But with your work partner, it's so hard because there's this concept of relationship debt. Like how much are you sweeping under the rug? And the more you sweep, debt. And that has to always be at zero. And it's very hard because as you work together, every single second you're accumulating more because humans are complex and emotions are complex. And like, let's say we have this conversation, you are listening to it completely differently to the way I'm intending to say it. Yeah. It's like your own filter of life. And there's just so much happening. There are like millions of variables. So imagine going through this fast-paced, intense startup environment, rushing through an outcome, and there are all these like communication differences happening, which causes friction.
And also cultural in your case.
Exactly. And then you layer on cultural, then you layer on actually work patterns, which is the biggest. Like you layer on how a person fundamentally operates, which both of us are very different. So on paper, we look similar, but very different the way we operate, the way we like to do stuff, whether we like structure or not, how we'd like to lead people. So when we started, we knew that 54% of companies break up because of co-founder breakup. And we were never going to be one of them. And we just decided, look, if this company fails, it's not going to be because we both couldn't suck it up and work through our issues.
Yeah.
So that's the fundamental base of where we come from. And it also came from the fact that we left a male-dominated trading environment. And when we were leaving, people were like, oh, these girls going to start a catering business. And the fury I felt. And I was like, you know what? I'll just show you one day. And then we were like, look, this is not going to be the reason we fail, you know? Like we have a lot of people to prove wrong here. Let's keep going. But then I think on the journey, what's really good is we both have committed to making it work, which is number one. And now how we do it, over time I've actually realized pay someone so much faster. So we actually have a coach. And this coach sits in Silicon Valley. He's actually a founder coach. So it's different to therapy. And his goal is to get us to succeed in Yhangry. But it's not just all about work. The way you succeed at work is by having a trusting and safe environment between you two and realizing your zones of genius and your patterns that trigger you and what it is that you are not maybe that good at, and our co-founder can balance you. And once you do this inner work almost together, like it's been incredible. And we've tried so many different ones over the years because it's iteration. You're never going to find the first best person immediately. But yeah, and we've been really committed to it. And I think this work has made all the difference.
I love so many things that you spoke about: relationship debt, acknowledging differences, seeking out help, which not a lot of founders proactively do because it's also kind of stigmatized that you need external help. And I think you just overcame it and so simply and swiftly by actually reaching out to somebody. A lot of women, including myself, are guilty of not reaching out to somebody for mentorship, for coaching, for help. We just either feel shy, we feel, what's the other person going to think? Am I even capable of it? There's so much imposter that generally women go through. And I think you just like negated all of it by addressing the issue. Talking about the business model, which is a marketplace. I've built a marketplace earlier. I think it's always the same question, which is the chicken and egg situation. Do you want to tell any budding entrepreneur, any budding founder who wants to build around a marketplace as a model, what should they look at first? Supply or demand?
Right. Demand is always going to be hardest because you're getting someone to pay you money. There are very few exceptions where that ceases to be true. Supply is always easier because you're paying someone money. Yes, maybe they don't want the money in the exact way you're paying them, but you'll figure it out. Like for us, chefs, initially we paid them by the hour, then by the job, then now they set their own rates, whatever. But at every point in time, there were people happy to earn money on the side. So I think we were very clear that we need to figure out people that are paying. And even though now we are a true marketplace, it's kind of like Airbnb. You can choose whichever chef, wherever you want to, and all that stuff. At the beginning, none of that mattered. We were like, we have a chef. whereas the customer will send you a chef. And it's almost like the chef wasn't as important. It was the service, because we didn't give the choice to the customer. And that really helps, because you can break the chicken and egg situation. You can have one chef and you can just try and find so many customers, and then you can find the second chef when you need, because you have more than 5. Yeah. Supply will always be there, and you can find supply. And I think it's harder to get demand. And I do know there are cases, for example, now with us, what you said is true. Like now we have so many chefs where it's about quality chefs. And now we want to find quality chefs which will drive more demand. Whereas initially it was any chef will drive demand. So we had to figure out where these customers are, who they are.
That's in your early stages of the business.
Exactly, yes. And then it almost flips.
Yeah, so the chicken and egg can always, in that sense, like always pivot to what stage you are in, rather than just in very black and white answering if it is supply or demand.
Exactly, and it'll switch throughout your lifestyle cycle.
Interesting. Why Yhangry is all about chef and food, and we all love food. I was reading that 90% of your serotonin is produced in your gut. Your gut is also your second brain. It's also responsible for how you feel throughout the day, your mental health, your energy levels. Everything is here. We were also told outside when we were breathing to breathe from here, right? Are there chefs that can basically provide food as per your gut requirements, as per your dietary requirements?
So as you were speaking, you know what I was thinking? Yhangry is actually a memories company which happens to do food. And actually a huge part of your serotonin and all these chemicals come when you meet people, because you feel so good. And that's what Yhangry first is about. And then we happen to do food, because obviously, like, who doesn't want to hang out without food? And yes, I think to answer your question, 100%, everything is customizable. And I love that, because I don't know if it's Indian, I just want the food the way I want it. Like, I want chickpeas, but I want it spicy, and I don't want mushrooms in my rice. You know, it's like, I want the food I want to eat. And that's the whole point of private chefs, that they can personalize everything. I actually, even though we do a lot of dinner parties, I order meal prep because I love food in my fridge. It's like a no-brainer. And the chef is amazing. I tell them, hey, look, low oil, but I do want spices. Like, I don't want it bland. And I want Indian, but I want a little bit of like European, and I want clean. And then when I'm eating that food, I'm so happy because I've designed it the way my body likes to intake it. Otherwise, I'm probably not going to eat it. So yes, everything is customizable.
Awesome. That's amazing, because a lot of people suffer from gut issues and prebiotics and probiotics, and there's supplements all around, but I think it all boils down to how nutritious your food is. Yeah. And if I'm paying somebody to prepare food for me, I actually want it to be best friends with my gut.
Yes.
So I love that Yhangry actually gets to do this with its all customizable menu. So let's talk about your wellness routine. As a founder, we're always grappling with so many things all at once. It's like the world is falling apart. But what do you do for your personal wellness, for you to be in sanity? And just, tell me, like, is there any favorite app that you have, any devices?
Yeah. So I change my routine like almost every 1 to 2 months or 3 months. Like, I just love change so much. So what I want to tell you is my current, and it might not be in the future. My first thing that I do is I go to the park every morning and I read a book. And I listen to maybe music, or like there's a park dog called Bongo that comes running at me, and there's sun and trees, and it's like the best thing in the world. And I do that for as long as I can. So my first morning meeting is at like 9:50 a.m. Sometimes I'm in the park for 3 hours. It's incredible. So that's what I do, which really settles my brain. I've been really obsessed with this new thing called visualization. And there is this friend actually now called Maya Mental Fitness. And she has these recorded guided visualizations. You will love it. And it's basically 6 minutes. I plug it on every morning, and you visualize who you want to be in maybe a year, 2 years, 5 years, and like you see yourself getting there. It's so inspiring, and it just settles my brain. And I think that's like the second thing I do every day, or I have done for the past, like, let's say 2 months. Yeah. And then I do other things in the day, but I think it just changes based on like how much time I have.
You're so incredible. I've never heard a founder say that I spend 3 hours in the park first thing in the morning. And this is such a reality check, because I think for you to really optimize your own wellness, sleep and everything that you do is just so important. But I've never heard a founder talk about it. They just glorify and over romanticize hustle so much that it feels like you will never probably get time for your own self. But I love how you say that that this is so important for you?
Yeah, I think especially because I have been through burnout and I didn't even know what a burnout looks like. But literally I was like crying, there was no joy. And I feel like recently I got there again because I get really obsessed and focused with work. So I actually lose all boundaries. Like I literally stop eating good food. Like it's like I just forget to do everything but work. And I realize I can't stop when that happens. It's just like I have no awareness. But what I can do is take back time for myself in the morning. And I love reading. But then you can't read when you're so tired. It's like your brain is so distracted. So I realized if I just capture that morning day. And now, by the way, I stack stuff. Like now, I recently met like the founder of Zoe. He reached out and I was like, amazing. You want to give me some advice? We met in the morning and we went on this park walk. It was incredible. I was buzzing throughout the day.
I love
but
that.
You can stack. So now I meet people in my morning routine. I'm like, come meet my park dog Bongo. I'll buy you coffee and we'll sit.
I love that. Instead of meeting your investor, your colleague, or your partner in a boardroom,
Yes.
you can go out for
Yes.
a walk in the park.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
I think these are like these tiny little things which are all about finder fitness in
Agreed. Yeah.
themselves. Awesome. Okay, another question. I've always seen this fiery, zeisty side of Siddhi who's always killing it at work, having great work-life balance, has time to go to the park, time to read the book. Tell me one I f***ed it up moment where you cringe so hard about just thinking about it.
Oh my God, it's like daily. Oh gosh. Actually, like when you're saying that, I'm not that person. My life is so chaotic. I literally have no balance. Like sometimes I go 20 hours and I'll work and I'll forget to eat or drink water. And so I think everything you're saying is so interesting because maybe that's like one like portion of me or how it's been portrayed. But the reality is actually fully different. And I think very recently, I was fundraising, and although it all got wrapped up within 2 weeks, I was fundraising. I was also doing these partnerships, and I decided to accelerate everything at the same time to the point where my rib broke. So I had a hairline rib fracture. I was going to conferences. I was also taking these calls for fundraising, and I almost got myself to I could feel the physical exhaustion. And I also remember thinking, Jesus Christ, like, why are you, what's going on? And I couldn't do it any other way because I wanted to do everything. So I think actually that's one of the moments where it's very scary because imagine you do that and then you actually get yourself through a burnout and then it's going to take longer to recover. So to me, that was like what are you doing? Jesus Christ. But yeah, I think life is so messy and I think I live a very messy life, and it's funny you said that because I'm like, that's not me. I'm not put together at all.
You are. Oh my God. But I love this is the most authentic conversation I've had where somebody really is trying to layer the onion peels in the most truest sense possible. I love that. You've lived in 3 of the world's most fast-paced countries and places, India, New York, and London. Let's settle the debate on some of the things that I have to ask you. Best food. Is it that hard?
Yeah, it's very hard.
Really?
There's amazing places everywhere. I genuinely just feel you need to know where to
you
go.
can just say like why Yhangry's food is the best. That's
yeah.
Okay. Best work culture.
New York. But the best work-life balance, London.
Best fashion.
India.
Ooh, love it, love it. Best nightlife scene.
New York.
Okay, take me there. I've never been to the States. I want a party. Okay, best city for making lifelong friendships.
New York, but that's where I went to college, and I think that's where my heart is at. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Street food you miss the most.
India, Delhi.
Best city for innovation and creativity.
America, New York.
Oh, okay. Looks like a big piece of your heart is still in New York. Are we trying to find that out? Okay, and the most overrated thing in each city.
New York, the most overrated thing when people say it's too dirty. Oh my God, you would barely see the dirt. It's just like an amazing city.
Okay.
In London, how pretty London is, it's not really. It's like so grungy in so many areas. And I think when you start exploring it, you're like, wait, really? So I don't think London is that pretty. I just think it has a lot of character. And then most overrated thing in Delhi, oh, it's so tough.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I can go back to the next question.
Yeah, okay, good.
If Yhangry could host a dinner for one celebrity, who would that be? Let's manifest it.
Oh, wow. 1 second.
Yeah, take your time. Let's manifest the right person.
Exactly. I'm like, holy shit, who's
Don't
this
say
person?
any name just to say it.
Okay. Yhangry will have a dinner party, and this will be for all the female founders who've built billion-dollar companies. And I think bringing that energy together in the room will mean the outcome of that dinner will be a pot of a lot of money where we can fund for future women. And I think this has to happen. So I'm not going to take one name because there's so many. I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like Payal Kadakia, she's my favorite, ClassPass founder.
Yeah.
But then there is like Spank, Sarah Blakey, why do we leave her out? There's so many, and we just need all of them in a room and just be like, let's go. How do we change the landscape for women?
Oh my God, I can already feel the energy. It's like buzzing when you have so many incredible women in one room, and that's exactly the kind of energy that we need. We need more women founders, we need more women investors, and we just need women working on some fantastic problems where everybody tells us it's not possible.
Yes.
And then people like you actually show them how to do it the right way.
Very kind, thank you.
No, I mean it. I'm honestly so inspired by your work and how you've shaped your entire... I know you say because you're living your life and I get to see it from a third person's view, but I'm genuinely very, very inspired by what you do. I think it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Siddhi. I think the morning today, right from the breathwork to both of us actually tearing up.
Yeah, incredible.
It was just so vulnerable and awesome, and thank you for your energy, thank you for your time, and it was just the most beautiful morning I could have asked for.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you.
And the Conscious Connected Breathwork. I think it's going to change my life. It's going to be my new obsession.
So visualization and connected breathwork together is what we're going for.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
lovely rest of your day. I love you so much. Take care.
Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Bye, guys.